Imagine two pieces of land separated by miles of water. How would you connect them? That is a problem real engineers had to solve to connect Michigan's lower and upper peninsulas. I'm Mrs. DeFauw, and today I want to learn with all of you about how the Mackinac Bridge was built from 1950 to 1960. Before we learn all about the Mackinac Bridge, we need to know what a peninsula is, because Michigan is made of two of them. A peninsula is a piece of land almost surrounded by water. Because Michigan's southern shore of the Upper Peninsula and the northern shore of the Lower Peninsula were separated by Lake Michigan to the west and Lake Huron to the east, engineers needed to figure out how to build a bridge to connect these two peninsulas. Even before I jump into my reading, I know that engineers had to choose to use the tools available to them, like hammers, wrenches, screwdrivers, and drills. All of these tools are sitting right here in front of me. But once I learn how these tools work, I have to choose to pick them up and use them. The same is true for us as readers. We choose to use our decoding strategies as tools to help us build our comprehension so we understand what we read. Today, we are going to read a passage with words that have many syllables. When words have around 3 or more syllables, we call them multisyllabic words because multiple means many. It can be tricky to read multisyllabic words, so we are going to learn how to decode those words to support our comprehension. Just like the Mackinac Bridge connects Michigan's upper and lower peninsulas, we are going to learn how to build a bridge of understanding from the words we read on the page to our brains, where all our learning takes place. I've been researching the Mackinac Bridge and wrote a paragraph based on my research from the following sources. Let's read this passage together, which is missing some multisyllabic words. The Mackinac Bridge, also known as the Mighty Mac, was built in the 1950s. The bridge stretched 5 miles across the Straits of Mackinac. It was known as The Mighty Mac opened on November 1st, 1957. Tourists drove along I-75 from Mackinac City to St. Ignace. Traveling from the lower to the upper provided tourists with countless opportunities. The economy grew in Michigan's upper. Skipping all those words is confusing. I don't understand what we read. I bet you can guess some of those words based on what we've already discussed today. When we read from the lower to the upper, what's your guess? Right, peninsula. Good guess. But let's not guess when we read. Guessing is like using a screwdriver when you need a hammer. It might get the job done, but there's a better tool to use. Let's decode this word together. Since every syllable or word part has a vowel, let's break up this word. There are 4 vowels: E, I, U, and A. So I anticipate there will be 4 parts: pen, in, sa, la. Let's read the word together: peninsula. Rather than guessing, we must use our tools as readers to decode multisyllabic words. To decode peninsula, we used a flexible decoding tool. We have many tools to help us decode, but if we choose to not use those tools, reading is going to be harder, if not impossible. Let's use our decoding strategies to read some more multisyllabic words I've put back into the text, because without those words, we can't comprehend what this paragraph is about. Let's decode this word using a covert strategy, which is like going on a secret mission to decode a word. First, look for affixes, which are word parts that hold meaning. 2 affixes we need to look for are prefixes at the beginning of a word and suffixes at the end of a word. Are there any word parts or affixes we already know? I know shun is a suffix, which means state of. I don't see a prefix at the beginning, but I do see 2 vowels, U and E. This helps me to know I have 2 additional parts or syllables to decode: sus, pen, shun. Let's read the word together: suspension. A suspension bridge is a type of bridge that has a roadway hanging from many cables that are anchored at the ends. Now let's read this word. Are there any word parts we already know? super jumps out at me. And I also see the word structure. Because this word has two words, super, structure, it's a compound word. Once I use this strategy to break it up into two smaller words, it's easier for me to read. It's important to decode. It's also important to understand. Super reminds me of superheroes, so I understand that part of the compound word. I also know that another name for the Mackinac Bridge is Mighty Mac, which sounds like a superhero's name. Structure means building or construction. With the Mighty Mac stretching 5 miles across the water, it sure is a super structure. As readers, we are a lot like the people who had to choose to use the tools available to them to build the bridge. The Mackinac Bridge would never have stretched from the lower peninsula to the upper peninsula without people who used their tools. As readers, we have the tools that help us decode multisyllabic words. So keep building your reading skills by using what's in your toolbox.